And she was incredible.
Oh, she's so cool.
Cool.
She's a daughter my age.
Does she really? Oh, nice. Welcome. Now we're talking.
Right, so now we're live. Right.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for coming to the house.
Thank you for having me.
What's happening? You brought Elle with you.
Elle is here. Elle Puckett is my guitarist.
Are you good at being in the present? Like, how are you equipped for that emotionally and intellectually?
It has become the most essential thing of my entire life for the last 2.5 years.
So then think about this amazing pocket you're in right now.
Of just being present.
It's done. It's not out. And
yeah.
After this, it will be out.
I'm in the in-between. But being present, there's been so much change that's happened in the last couple years of my life. Being present has been kind of the only way to take it head on.
How'd you get there?
To the present?
Yeah.
Just being here.
Were you good at it before?
Oh. I think so, but I think that the way I have learned to become present is an incredible amount of like first time experiences. So people would be like, "Are you excited to go on tour?" But excitement is projection of emotion. Mm-hmm. But I'd be like, how would I be excited? I've never done it before. I don't know what it's going to be like. Like I couldn't possibly picture what like playing on late night TV would be like. So when people asked me if I was excited, it was just unfathomable.
But excitement is still a feeling. Like, were you anxious? Did you feel any of that stuff?
Oh, well, no, I was excited, but it was almost like beside the point. Like, it was so much new information that it was sort of hard to process. And I really think excitement is like, it's a projection of self. Like, I can't wait to eat lunch. And then you're thinking about yourself eating lunch. Like, it was just so far out of the realm of something I could picture that it was having a projection of emotion was like, it wasn't possible.
Over the years I've been interviewing people, the thing because I do agree with you, I think that excitement's not really the point. What I'm curious is, are you able to enjoy this? A lot of people can't enjoy it because of pressure or other things, and some are really good at enjoying it. Where are you in that?
I think that's why I'm so excited about this record in particular, because I'm finally really, really enjoying it. And I spent a lot of time being overwhelmed and kind of scared of all this change because I guess so much of it felt out of my control. And that's so much what this record is about, is that process of change. But with this record, I guess so many people got introduced to me without me having a say in it through this video of me and Pharrell Williams. And
it just sort of happened, right?
It just kind of happened, and it also went on the internet without me knowing, and it like the song in it wasn't finished. Like there was all this like context to how my like very public life became, or very private life became very public. And this record is so exciting because it's me finally getting to introduce myself on my terms.
That's a big catch up, isn't it?
In what way?
Well, this idea that now people know things about, not know about, but they know of you, as you say.
Oh, it's been 2 years of catching up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big catch up.
It is, but I think, especially because this record tells the story pretty vulnerably of how it felt to be me during that period. I'm so excited for this record to be out because I feel like once people have been able to listen to the whole thing, it's like I get to meet my audience eye to eye again and be like, cool, now I actually have a shot of doing this and getting to be myself in it. And you know what kind of artist I am. And we were able to sort of like level the field of like how much you know versus what's the truth versus how I'm actually feeling.
And who is your audience? When someone has a breakout, who is your audience?
I don't know. I think that's been the most exciting thing to see is an incredible amount of diversity. And every time, like I still don't know what kind of rooms I play because it's just been growing in this way that it's a little uncomfortable, just like not knowing what it looks like. But the cool thing is like, you don't get to choose your fans, but every time I do have conversation with fans, it feels like we could all be at the same house party. Mm-hmm. Like I've been blown away by the amount of like genuinely kind, caring, like-minded individuals who I meet through my music, and to be able to connect with people and create community in that way feels like a real privilege.
Let's hear a song. We'll come back, talk some more.
All right.
All right. Here we go. What are you going to play?
We're going to play my song called Light On. Would you believe me now if I told you I got caught up in a wave? Almost gave it away. Would you hear me out if I told you I was terrified for days? Thought I was gonna wanna break. Oh, I couldn't stop it, tried to slow it all down. Crying in the bathroom, had to figure it out. With everyone around me saying, you must be so happy now. Oh, but if you keep reaching, then I'll keep coming back. But if you're gone for good, then I'm okay with that. If you leave the light on, then I'll leave the light on. Ooh, I am finding there's just no other way, and I'm still dancing another day. If you leave the light on, then I'll leave the light on. And do you believe me now? That I always had the best intentions, babe. Always wanted to stay. And can you feel me now? That I'm vulnerable in oh so many ways. Oh, it don't ever change. Oh, I couldn't stop it to slow it all down. But everything kept moving. It always got too loud. With everyone around me saying, you should be so happy now. Oh, but if you keep reaching, then I'll keep coming back. But if you're gone for good, then I'm okay with that. If you leave the light on, then I'll leave the light on. Oh, I am finding there's just no other way, and I'm still dancing another day. If you leave the light on, I'll leave the light on. I'll leave the light on. Oh, would you leave the light on? Whoa, I'll leave the light on. Would you leave? Would you leave the light on? If you keep reaching out, and I'll keep coming back. But if you're gone for good, then I'm okay with that. If you leave the light on, then I'll leave the light on. Oh, I can't find it now. There's just no other way, and I'm still dancing another day. If you leave the light on, I'll leave the light on. If you leave the light on, then I'll leave the light on. Oh, if you leave the light on. Ooh.
That was wonderful.
Thanks.
Thank you. Maggie Rogers and Al Fuckett. Thank you for Puckett. Thank you for doing it. What are you reading? You spend a lot of time reading?
I do. Right now I'm reading The English Patient. I forget who it's by.
I mean, that
Undiche?
it's Michael Ondaatje.
Ondaatje.
Yeah, a Canadian.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, a Canadian.
Elle and I both just read this really crazy book called Many Lives, Many Masters, which is about reincarnation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been passing that around.
What kind of discussions did you have about it?
We're kind of still both, I think, personally unpacking it.
Yeah, absolutely.
My record is called Heard It in a Past Life. So mostly I was excited because I keep getting asked about reincarnation. And
Just like randomly you've been asked
felt-
about it, or because you're reading your book?
No, I think because of my album title,
Yeah.
people are like, "So who were you in a past life?" And I'm sort of like, "Oh fuck, I really should do some research about like, be able to speak about this eloquently."
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm still in that process, but the record title is sort of about like memory and where music comes from, and I don't know, music sort of comes from nowhere, right? And it's my favorite part of it, and
It's just pushing air.
kind of, yeah. But I think I had somebody. I gave a performance the other day, and somebody came up to me afterwards and said, like, "You sang with all of your ancestors," and it was just like I had this really powerful conversation with this woman, and I think that is sort of what soul is about, or like singing with soul is about singing with history and depth, and I think that's what I'm always just trying to do, is to connect and to sing or feel in a way that is real, and write in that way too.
The music you were introduced to when you were young, was it that kind of music?
No. I don't have like a musical family. Yeah. So I listened to a lot of classical music because I was a harp player growing up.
What kind of stuff?
My like favorite CD growing up was The Planets by Gustav Holst. And then, but on my way to the harp lessons, my mom would play me all this neo soul in the car. So I was listening to like Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill and Outkast. And
The Planets is, so you're talking about what, the 20s, right? Like it's really early. So the media influence is nothing.
Right.
That's a whole to what would one's influences be when they're composing that?
Yeah, I guess it's like neoclassical because it's not really like Baroque.
But it is classical, but it's this idea.
Instrumental, yeah, and it's orchestral.
Yeah, and it's this artist who's drawing on something and naming it after the solar system, the planets. But
right, so his influences are what, like Galileo?
Right, this is what I'm trying.
The Roman Catholic Church, like I don't know.
So when you're hearing the church, for sure would be because it's something to rub up against, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess that makes the planets super controversial in a way. I don't know. Well, it's like really like based on mythology. Like all of the suites that relate to the planet have to do with whatever those like representations are in Roman and Greek mythology. I guess I haven't really listened to the planets in a second. Mostly I've been listening to Debussy's Nocturnes and like Brockhampton. But I listen to Brockhampton a lot.
I'll just move your head to this side.
Yeah, I don't know. I've also been listening to Pine Grove. That record came out a little while ago, I guess, and Casey Musgraves.
I love that. What was your experience like working on the Meet Me in the Bathroom book?
It was awesome. I mean, I was going to college, and I spent 3 years transcribing that book and working as an editorial assistant with Lizzie Goodman.
This is this great book that documents the time in New York, that early 2000s. It's maybe
from 2001 to 2011. But then, of course, there's like pre and post, sort of both included in the book. And I got to listen to interviews of my favorite people in music, like Alison Mosshart, talk about why they made music, how they did it, and largely all these stories took place in the East Village when I was living there. And so it was cool because I would like take different routes to school because I wanted to walk by that bar that like Ryan Adams got punched by like Julian Casablancas, and like it was right on my route to school. Like it was really.
Wait, which bar did he punch that? Not Niagara. What?
Not Niagara, but close. Maybe it was Niagara loosely, or 2B.
Trying to think.
I don't remember off the top of my head right now.
Well, Niagara was Jesse Malin's bar, who had this amazing punk bar on St. Mark's called Coney Island, which
I know.
Coney Island High was my favorite place to go.
It's crazy because whenever I talk to people who lived in New York at that point, I often find like I know more about it than they do because they were like drinking. Yeah. But it also was super helpful when I was like thinking about signing to record labels because, you know, inevitably I'd be at some dinner and these dudes would like start talking over me. And I would just like whip out some fun fact about when they were like drunk trying to sign the Killers in like 2007. And they would look at me like I was a crazy person.
Because you knew this.
Yeah. I knew all this like secret information about their lives, but they didn't know I knew it.
Shit that alcohol took away from them.
It's their choice.
They
gave it away.
When you were listening to these interviews and reading, I guess, some of the motivations of these people, did you see yourself in any of it? Like your way of doing this?
I don't know if my way of doing this exists. Like,
but your reasons for doing it exist.
Oh, yeah. My reasons for doing it. Totally. But also, I don't know, because so much about the artists in that book, they really want visibility. And I kind of always just wanted to be in the studio. Like, I have a degree in music production. Like, that is where I feel super comfortable. And so being public and being representing my music publicly is definitely this new thing that I'm learning where the boundaries of my comfort levels are with that.
It's interesting.
But the biggest thing when I think about like those artists in the 2000s versus like where I am now is the difference between like social media. Like, it's crazy. You know, I'm on tour with Mumford & Sons right now, and those guys are like some of my dearest friends. But it was amazing to me because like some of our first shows, they were like, I can't believe journalists are here. They're not supposed to come to London. I was like, dude, like every second of my career has been filmed. And it was amazing to have these conversations with them where like that's not what the music industry was like when they were starting.
Well, there's got to be pros and cons to that reality for them and for you. This idea that
100%.
Gestation period is very different for you.
What gestation period?
but art into some needs that. Music needs that because there's this really strange, not that this is to be all end up, but you may have seen, do you remember, was it Truth or Dare? Was that the Madonna movie? It was a great documentary. I think it was a Madonna movie, and she was dating Warren Beatty at the time, and she really was ahead of the curve on this. There was cameras around her the whole time, and Warren Beatty looked at her and said, this isn't healthy to be documented so much.
Yeah.
Now, that was her choice. This isn't your choice.
Well, it is to a certain point. I mean, like, I am consenting. Yeah. I am saying yes, and I am like following this path. But I think like in music right now, it's interesting. There are a couple artists that I think this doesn't apply to, but in general, I think because of social media, music is so manicured, and like musicians appear next to like Kim Kardashian in people's social media feeds, so there's different expectations on musicians. Whereas like before there was this element of like grunge and grit and friction, and there's something kind of fucked, and I just feel like there's an incredible pressure on musicians to behave in this way that maybe didn't exist before.
And we're noticing it in here, especially with a lot of the 21 and under, especially with a lot of women that are coming in, girls. There's a lot of guitar stuff coming back. You're seeing a DIY. You're hearing dissonance.
It is coming.
You're hearing it, and it's got because there's a lot of people who look at Migos and Cardi B and can appreciate it, but say that I can't. That's not where I'm gonna go. I can't be that. And
you can only be yourself. But I think there are a lot of people making grittier music. I think it's just like waiting for it to cross over into pop music, because I think the weird thing about me is like I love pop music and I love like punk music, and I kind of have one foot in both worlds, which is a funky place to be in, because I actually think that those two worlds are more separated now than maybe they ever have been.
Yeah, I agree. But that's how we got the clash.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it doesn't like create awesome things. It just means that like there's some artists like when I think about Casey Musgraves, I think she made one of the best records of the year, but I don't hear her record on the radio. But then some of the stuff I'm hearing on the radio I think is just awful. And I think with Spotify and Apple Music and streaming services in general, like you don't really need radio anymore, and yet it's still this like essential part of getting your music to people, I guess. Like I don't know where the line is, and I think that they're kind of being defined still.
I don't remember her name, and I know it, but there's one woman who's basically in charge of all of Spotify's rock, and she is the number one gatekeeper. So in the old days when people complain about radio going, oh, it's the same 5 people or 10 people.
You know that Jessie Reyez song, Gatekeeper?
Yeah. She played that in this house.
Really?
Yeah.
God, she's so cool. I really, really love her. She's
incredible. She's found a way to cut through.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was amazing. You know, I worked with Lizzie Plappinger to curate this all-female festival in D.C., and we worked on it for like a year. It's called All Things Go, and Jessie played. And we worked on it for a year, and it happened to fall on the day of the Kavanaugh confirmation, which is just like a crazy amount of energy in D.C. And Jessie captured the anger and was able to bring people together. And help give a release in a way that I've never seen another artist do. I mean, she is so punk and so raw and so herself, and yet her voice just like never ceases to blow me away.
It's incredible.
I think this is a symptom of like my generation. When you ask me about music, it's kind of hard for me to answer questions without looking at my phone. Because like the first records I would think to tell you about were the ones I was listening to in high school when I was like buying vinyl and didn't have Spotify.
Right.
But like...
So who are they? Who are those artists?
In high school?
Yeah.
Like Sufjan Stevens, Bon Iver, Death Cab for Cutie, Beirut. Like I listened to like fundamental Grizzly Bear, fundamental indie rock. But like... And I can talk about those records immediately and talk about everything about them. But then when I got to college, like... I fundamentally still listen to albums, but the way I remember them or can talk about them is really different.
Because your experience with them is different.
Yeah.
How you interacted with them.
Yeah, it's digital. Like
Right.
I'm not like holding, like I can talk about the albums that I bought and like really spent time with. And now I do like, I spent time with like 3 or 4 records this year. It's really hard. Like all these like top lists coming out because like the 4 records I listened to the most this year, or even like 3, I listened to Brockhampton Iridescence, I listened to Casey Musgrave's Golden Hour, I listened to Wrecking Ball by Emmylou Harris, and I listened to Alleluia Anyhow by His Golden Messenger. And it's like 2 of those came out this year. The other ones didn't. I didn't really have time for any other music. I just like spent 3 months each with one of those.
Right.
And
maybe that's lovely, though. Maybe that's a really nice way to spend time with an album. So in an era where culture gets fed to us like through a fire hose, it's nice to just sit back and enjoy a record.
Well, I think also because my noise or my life has so much noise in it. Like whether it's just like sound check, it is music, but like there's just like a lot of sound constantly. I sort of need to process music in a slightly slower way than I did before.
Right.
And I'm not listening academically anymore. So that's different also.
Nice. You want to play another song? What are you going to play?
Yeah, we are going to cover Whitney Houston's Dance with Somebody.
Such a great tune.
I love this song. We started playing this song. One of the things that's been really like fun for me is I've been like DJing and then just learning to curate, like spending a lot of time curating the playlist that plays before my show and then after my show. And this song comes on after we finish up playing our last song, and it's been really special to see the crowd sort of turn into a dance party on its own with this song. So
poor security guards, they want people to leave the venue.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's just dancing.
We have sort of negotiated that they'll let us play the entirety of this song and then they make people leave. But
Let's hear it.
We're gonna make it sad. Clock strikes upon the hour and the sun begins to fade. Still enough time to figure out how to chase my blues away. I don't know right up to now. It's the light of the day that shows me how. When dance? Don't you wanna 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 dance? Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat of somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat. Oh, yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me.
What are your hopes for 2018 or 2019? Because it's in January.
2019, I'd like to put a record out. I'd like to play a lot of places. I'd like to meditate every day, I think.
How many minutes?
10.
10.
Start low.
That's good.
Meditate every day for 10 minutes.
Do you use an audio guide for that, or?
I don't. We have a meditation that we do as a band before we go on stage, and that's what I sort of do
Right.
personally.
What do you hope for a cultural 2019? I mean, that little thing.
Empathy.
From whom?
I think we're kind of in like a cold civil war, so I would say from both parties. A little bit of empathy could go a long way.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Thanks for coming in, both of you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks for having
Cool.
us.
You got it.